Hello everybody, welcome to All Sports Weekly episode 11. I am Trevor and with me this week I have Gavin. How you going?
Good mate, how are you?
Good. Happy to be here?
Happy to be here.
Nice. Obviously guys, we're on YouTube. We're also on SoundCloud. You can find us at soundcloud.com if you'd rather just listen to the show. You can message me on allsportsweekly@outlook.com and Twitter @allsportsweekly. Going to read a couple of comments from last week. Couple of top comments. First one here from Grant Archibald. Good show, guys. Are you saying Nathan Cleary is too old at 23 years of age? You've got black t-shirts older than that. No, mate, I'm not saying that is great comment. I'm not saying Nathan Cleary's too old. My analogy was about Italian wine, Grant. Now, I don't know if you have the taste for the finer things in life. Gav, yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
23 is too old. There's a few guys getting around.
Yeah, my point is I don't think he's too old. I just think he's as good as he's going to get. I don't think he's going to age and improve with age. I could be wrong. I think he's a really good halfback, but I think he's not going to get any better, and he's not in that top tier. I think after the State of Origin and the Grand Final, when Nathan Cleary has a nightmare, Cameron Munster is in it. Thoughts?
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah, he's been haunting him, hasn't he?
And secondly, Lucas Osborne corrected me on a mistake I made. Aaron Finch was actually snubbed from the IPL auction last month because I was saying that Finch would have plenty of cricket to play. No IPL team wanted him, and that's the Australian captain. So that tells you a bit about his form.
Yeah, I mean, he went well in the last few games, but really, he's hit and miss, isn't he?
Yeah, like you said, I think he did enough to save his spot, but yeah. But Lucas went on to say he's got the backing of his teammates and he would have him in the team. The full backing of the teammate, the full support. Not sure if you want that full support, but there you go. So thanks for the comments, and leave any comments down below for this week if you want to talk about it next week. So Gav, what have you been watching this week, mate?
Oh mate, it's hard to go past the Mundine fight, right?
The Monday, yeah. It was pretty easy to go past it.
Yeah, missed it if you blinked.
No, look, 90-second fight, that one?
That one up there, actually.
Right. Yeah, it's a good time. That one's been in mothballs for a while, mate.
Get the chinos back out.
The cotton shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you going to maybe head out tonight, get the RMs and head that one?
That's right.
Down to Pier 9?
It's funny how many people turn up when you're winning, isn't it? There's like 10,000 there or something.
Yeah, half decent crowds for sure. So you watched a bit of rugby?
Yeah, watched the rugby, mainly the Reds. They're playing well. It was great to see them actually win the game at the end. Normally that's when they lose it. So. And
are you watching it on free to air or?
Oh, I've got it Stan.
All right. Well, I knew someone had got it, and now I've met him. So I'm going to ask you a few questions about that. I watched a bit of that myself. Obviously the NRL. And I've watched a bit of EPL, so I've had a chance to watch a bit this week. Yeah. So we'll get into it. We'll start with the NRL. Now, the first round has gone. The big guns are firing, mate. The teams that are thought to be the best teams in the league all had pretty good performances.
I heard that everyone that finished in the top 8 last year won, bar the Rabbitohs.
Who played
But they played the Storm, so...
Well, Richard here, who was on a few weeks ago, friend of the show, he's of the opinion the top 6 from last year will be the top 6 again this year, which would be pretty rare in the NRL with the way that is, the salary cap, etc. But I have to say, after seeing that on the weekend, like the good teams look way better than the ones down the bottom.
Yeah, it's like the top 6 are pretty close. And then you've kind of got like 1 or 2 teams floating there, like your Sharks and the Warriors maybe. And then...
there's definitely a middle that's up for grabs, but do you think, and maybe the order might change, but the top 6 from last year, Roosters, Penrith, Parramatta, Raiders, Storm, South, is that the top 6 again?
Off round 1, you'd have to think so. I mean,
it is only round 1.
Pretty poor. I think they came out a bit underdone, but they were up against a Storm team that just blew them off the park.
Yeah, the Storm just came out, a lot of talk that, no Smith. Just boom.
Yeah, no Smith. But they got another Smith and he played pretty well.
Another Smith. And they got Munster, who, that's his team now, isn't it?
That's it.
If he stays injury free.
And Pappenhausen.
Pappenhausen. Yeah. Gee, they're really missing Billy Slater, aren't they?
Yeah, Billy Who, yeah.
So we'll have a look at, we'll talk about the actual games in a second. So I was a bit dubious with that concept of the top 6 being the top 6, but starting well. Long season, of course. Now, a bit of news, mate, that our boy Joseph Suwali has gained an exemption to play for the Roosters, and he's 17. Thoughts?
I don't mind it. Like, there have been players in the past that have played before 18.
There's been quite a few.
I think Jordan Rankin is one of the youngest. He was like 16 years old. And
what's he doing today? What's he doing these days?
Yeah, I don't know.
The last,
like Justin Hodges was 17. So
Darren Lockyer. The last one was Tamalolo, and that was in 2010.
And if you look at this guy compared to like those, he doesn't look out of place.
No, he doesn't.
And he played...
He's still in his high school year, so he's still got his HSC to worry about. I don't have a strong opinion. Like, the old saying was, if you're good enough, you're old enough. But there is a perception that it's another one the Roosters have kind of got over the rest.
Yeah, I actually heard on 360 though, when he was with the Rabbitohs, they were told if they put through the paperwork, he was pretty much going to get an exemption. So
yeah,
it's not like they've. And you got to remember,
it's not a Roosters bias.
The Roosters, they're just professional. Like, they would have had the paperwork going when they started to poach him, you know. So
the Roosters had a very professional application that made it hard to refuse. Do you think though that this will open the door for other clubs who now have a 17-year-old they want to get some first grade into, and they're going to say, well, you did it for him?
Well, I mean, they have to do it the same way. The player, it all depends on the kid as well, you know. Like, when you look at him, he played reserve grade last week, I think, and got 2 tries.
Got a couple of tries. Yeah,
he didn't look out of place.
No, but I wouldn't be surprised if he plays this week. I think they're going to protect him and he's going to play. You know.
I heard that the Roosters, like, next month of football are coming up against pretty good teams.
Right.
So they reckon maybe around, like, after round 6, they start to hit teams that will probably be in that bottom 4, and I think that's where you might see, like, one of the Morris boys have a rest. And
I wouldn't be surprised though if a couple of opposition players see him and think, well, I'm going to iron this guy out. You know what I mean? Because he's got big raps. He's 17.
He's on good money too.
He's got good money. There's going to be some first grade players who are going to say, well, I'm going to give you a little bit of how you're going.
Yeah.
Well, he's playing outside centre, but you can still get a bit of traffic coming at you there.
Yeah, do you reckon they might try him on the wing, or do you reckon they'd put him straight into the centres?
I feel like he's a centre. I think they're going to play him as a centre. We'll see, but time will tell. But then, you know, on the other hand, you've got a lot of chat about the new concussion protocols and CTE and all this brain stuff, and then you've got 17-year-olds coming in, so they are maybe a bit inimical to each other. But it's a big name. I mean, he turns 18 in August. Yeah. I thought they might have just brought him in at the end of the year on his 18th birthday, maybe. But I think he's going to play before that.
He's got no... I mean, again, the Roosters have a lot of talent in that team. It's not like he's just going to walk into a position. Like, maybe if there's injuries, he might get in there. But
come Origin time, when there's a few players out, St George at home, you know, Broncos away, mate. one of those easy games. Anyway, it's an interesting talking point, so we'll wait to see. When he does make a debut, it will be a big deal. So to just quickly run through the actual games. The first game, Storm 26, Rabbits 18. As we mentioned, Storm just it was
a grand final again. They just went out and then coasted.
A lot of people reckon that's the grand final this year.
Well,
maybe.
Yeah. I mean, the Rabbitohs again, like Wayne Bennett blasted them for their attitude. So I dare say whoever they play this week, they might be in for a bit of a touch.
Yeah, I think Souths are definitely a top team. A lot of teams losing to the Storm in week 1. That's not a blight on them. Newcastle 32.
But just on the Storm though, I think you did see they got out to that lead, and that's where Cam Smith would normally come in and just take care of the game from that 60-minute onward.
Yeah.
And the Rabbitohs came back at that point, so maybe...
Got a bit tight.
Maybe somebody in that team has to step up just to take control, and that would be like your Munster or Hughes or something. But
you're going to miss Cameron Smith. You can't not, you know. He's just how good he was.
They looked like they've just taken off from last year.
Yeah. Knights 32, Bulldogs 16, absolutely pouring rain. That one pretty much went to script. I think the Knights fans will just breathe a little bit easier with that one. A bit of off-field stuff. Just getting the win.
They look good though.
Now I was out here. I did some field research Friday night at Suncorp, Parramatta and the Broncos. Broncos 16, Parramatta 24. A game of 2 halves. I checked my phone at half time, mate. I was getting a bit of free advice from a few people probably watching this video.
Just everyone.
And but the Broncos fans forgot there is a second half. Don't feel bad. The players forgot as well. Thoughts?
I have a feeling that with those new rules, faster game, less breaks, when you have those injuries, you're down to 14 guys.
They do get injuries.
That interchange at the end of the game can come back to hurt you a bit.
24 unanswered points.
Eels were bad in the first half.
They
Broncos were great. Broncos were horrible in the second half, and Eels were great.
Yeah, I saw enough for the Broncos fans there. I saw enough to tell me that there's a bit of pride in the shirt at least, and that's encouraging. I know you'd rather win the game, but there was definitely a better performance than what we saw last year. The Warriors keep on keeping on, 19-6 over the Titans. Don't write the Warriors off. I see this week people aren't expecting them to win. Fanua Blake, mate, he's a handy in.
That's a great sign.
It's a handy in.
I think Warriors, though, great this week. Who knows next week?
Who knows? The Roosters absolutely towel up Manly 46-4. Roosters, great outfit. Manly, not sure, missing Tommy Turbo, but they got to be better than that.
But is Tommy Turbo worth 40 points?
No, he's not. And there's going to be some questions about Manly. I think Desi's looking for a 3-year deal and has been knocked back on that one.
I hope he got given 2 years.
He got given a 1 year.
1 year.
So, interesting times. Penrith 24, Cowboys 0. Cowboys Valence in defeat. We sort of blew out at the end. The game was a bit closer than it sounds. The talk of that one is Taumalolo and Toddy Payton having a bit of a thing.
Yeah.
Payton calling him out in the media publicly saying, not good enough, benched him, didn't bring him on for as many minutes, took the alpha dog on in his first game NRL and had a rant at the presser. Good idea, bad idea.
I guess we'll see how he turns up this week. I wouldn't want to be in front of him if he's angry.
Todd Payton or Taumalolo.
Either of them,
yeah.
really.
It's interesting, like you got a coach who's he has coached last year for the Warriors, but his first game at a new team, he's gone after the highest paid player and singled him out publicly.
Yeah, well...
Interesting.
It's a bold tactic.
Mate, the Raiders had too much for West 30-12, but Tigers looked alright, I thought.
It was pretty close there, and
Yeah.
a couple of tries against the run of play. Yeah.
Dragons lost 18-32 to the Sharks. It was close at one point. My perfect tipping round ruined in the final game. Could be a long year for the Dragons.
Yeah, I mean, Sharks, I don't think they're a great side, but they just stay in the fight, so...
My beloved Eels will take on the Storm on Thursday night. I'm very nervous.
What do you reckon? What do you reckon the margin will be?
Eels by 10. No. Obviously, the Storm are just going to be a tough team. Eels can't play like they did the other night, and you can't play like that and beat the Storm.
I mean, 16. If it was the other way around, Storm get 16 ahead against the Eels like that.
They don't lose the game from there. Warriors take on the Knights in the F3 derby because Warriors are located at that Central Coast. The Knights will make the drive up. That's an interesting game to me. But I reckon the Friday night, Broncos with a rare Friday night game.
Yeah.
Against the Titans down at Rabina there. That's an interesting. Titans Broncos, mate. Where are you there?
That's a tough one, hey. Fafita against the Broncos.
It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be hard to see. I mean, Broncos already a few injuries there, but
yeah,
hopefully.
Both teams off a loss, but early days. There's a bit of rivalry there, like it always has been, but with the poaching of players. That's going to be an interesting match.
It's going to be good.
Yeah, if the Broncos lose that one, mate. Well,
Kevy.
Kevy. The Bulldogs take on the Panthers. Manly are taking on the Rabbits, so things don't get too much easier for Manly, although that one is at Brookvale. Cowboys are taking on the Dragons up there.
That could be a battle for the wooden spoon there.
Well, after Peyton Spray and the Dragons at home, I feel like, we'll see how that one goes. Anyone could win that one. Tigers, Roosters at Campbelltown. Tough one for the Tigers. And Sharks and Raiders won't close out the round. Anything grab your eye? For me, I'm looking at the Eels. I watch every week, but Titans, Broncos, I'm very interested.
I think the Eels Storm will give us a good idea how the Eels are looking this year. Storm are going to be great.
Eels never match up well with the Storm. We've lost prelims, round games, grand finals to them, although they did cheat. We lose to the Storm all the time, so I don't see it being any different, but I like to be wrong. All right, mate, let's have a chat about some rugby here. Now, the Super Rugby has been going along. Last weekend, Force 7 to the Rebels 10, tight one. Rebels got the win they desperately needed before they get their first home game in like a year, I think, this weekend. And the game of the season, at least from the Aussie side, was the Brumbies 38 and the Reds 40. Pretty good match.
Nice and tight.
Yeah.
And then normally it's the Reds that lose it in that 80th minute.
Yeah.
But it was them that got the
Pataya.
try.
Pataya's living up to a bit of the hype.
Yeah, he looks good.
Yeah.
I reckon the Australian rugby is looking great. The games are good. I mean, we'll see when we play the New Zealanders.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Are we looking good because we're playing each other?
Don't know. We'll wait and see.
But do you like the format now with Australia playing Australia until the end? Because
I do. I think it's...
Yeah.
Because, you know, you come out, if you lose, like, your first 3 games to, like, South African teams and New Zealand teams, it lose your confidence, and then...
Yeah.
At least this way, you can get some wins and play some good football.
Yeah, it was pretty good footy. O'Connor looks alright too, you know, so... Yeah. And Vunivalu got a couple of meat pies and, you know, back from the doghouse of being in trouble with the Coppers and all that. Looks like, he's going alright there. In the New Zealand side, the Crusaders keep on keeping on 39-17 over the Chiefs, and the Blues 39 beat the Wellington Hurricanes 17. Just quickly looking at the New Zealand side, Crusaders 3 from 3, rolling on. We've been here before, haven't we? You know, they're going to be the team to beat again.
Yeah.
If you can dominate the New Zealand conference, you know. I do think they are coming to play the Reds this year, because the way it is, we're playing Australia, they're playing, but there is some games at the end before the finals where we do play, and I'm pretty sure
permitting, of course.
COVID permitting. That's the asterisk on everything, isn't it? So yeah, pretty good season so far. Now, Stan, you're watching it on Stan, is that right?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
How's the quality?
It was alright. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you watching it on your phone or on the telly? Or?
Because I was working, I was watching it on the phone. So.
Okay. Busy at work, eh?
Busy.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, because I'm interested just to see. I've seen a few comments online. People are whinging about the picture.
Yeah.
And I've watched some EPL on Optus on the weekend, and it's average.
Yeah, I haven't had it.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh well. There you go. Just quickly, guys. AFL starts tomorrow. I'm just going to quickly go through some of the games. Richmond in their traditional round 1 clash against Carlton. I don't remember Carlton winning this game, ever. I mean, since this traditional format has been happening, which has been a while, they might have won the first year. But geez, this is Richmond. They just get a win to start.
And all these teams are back at home, so...
That's right. The Melbourne team's back at the G. Fans are being allowed, albeit with some T's and C's. So big one there for the G tomorrow, Richmond and Carlton. I'd like to see Carlton do something, but I highly doubt it. Friday night sees a grub fest with Collingwood and the Western Bulldogs. Now, Saturday you got Melbourne at home to Fremantle. Fremantle on the up, but Melbourne is my little pick for the team that's going to improve this year. So we'll see how much I know or don't know in that one. Adelaide, terrible last year at home to Geelong. That one, Geelong looked like maybe the favourites for the flag, so we'll see about that one. Now, my beloved Bombers taking on Hawthorn on Saturday. 2 teams who I think will be down the bottom. For that reason, these games are crucial to get that win, because wins are going to probably be hard to come by for both of these teams. So, and Hawthorn and Essendon, there's no love lost there. Go the Bombers. And the Lions are going to be at home to the Swans, and I will be at that one, mate, doing a bit of field research for the All Sports Weekly, A bit of a tax write-off. You know what I mean?
I think the Lions are going to get it.
You think so? Yeah. Hard to say with the Swans. Lions at home, a lot of expectation. Yeah, should be a good night. Let's see what happens on that one. Another game is North Melbourne's taking on Port Adelaide. Going to be a hard one for the shin boners there. The GWS Grants going to get preferential treatment in place in Kilda at home on Sunday. And then West Coast are going to take on Gold Coast, and West Coast are going to really want that fortress. If they're going to be the team we think they can be, those home games, Gold Coast meant to be improved. But
who's your top 4 for the year?
Top 4 in no particular order is Geelong, Richmond, West Coast, and let's throw Melbourne in there. Melbourne Demons.
Nice.
You think can Richmond win the comp again, or?
I think if Richmond, I don't think they'll get the minor premiership, but if they get into the finals and get that grand final at the MCG, they know how to win it.
Yeah, you'd hate to play them in a granny, wouldn't you?
I still think the Lions are going to be up in the top 4. I think that.
Yeah, I've got them in the top 8. A lot of people think they're better than that.
But we'll see who you've got for the spoon.
I think we're in the race. North Melbourne would have to be close. I think Hawthorn is a really good shout.
Yeah.
Carlton are never too far away. I think the bottom 4 is Essendon, Hawthorn, North Melbourne, and Carlton.
It seems to be a little bit like the NRL too. Like the bottom seems to be a long way from the top as well.
Yeah, I think so. It's looking that way, but it's week 1 or not even week 1 for this. So you'll see. There's going to be some ups and downs. I'd love the Bombers to get that week 1 win. just win a game, settle the nerves a little bit. Okay, mate. Bit of football, round ball game. Now Liverpool broke their losing streak. They beat Wolves, who are no easy beats. At Wolves 1-0. Liverpool just had to win that. They had to. Leicester towed up Sheffield 5-0. Arsenal, North London derby, bitter rivals Spurs beat Spurs 2-1. Some good news for Arsenal fans in a season that hasn't had a lot of that. Man U beat West Ham 1-0. Should have been 10-0. I watched the game. But West Ham keeper had a blinder. But an important win for Man U. But Man City, after losing to Man U last week, have come along, smashed Fulham 3-0, bopped them. They're back to 14 points on top, and it's all over. The big one here is Liverpool, currently sitting in 6th on 46, still 5 points out of that top 4 where Chelsea are. I don't know if they're going to make it. So if Liverpool go from Champions League, winning that the other year there, winning the Premiership last year, and then don't make the top 4, there's going to be a few questions, mate, because that's no Champions League next year, that's no silverware.
Yeah, there's a lot riding on it.
There's a lot riding on that one, mate. Do you have an EPL?
Nah, not really.
They're not going to, just on the fence?
On the fence, yeah.
Not tempted to come over to Man U? We'll have you.
Nah, I'm good.
Welcome you with open arms. This weekend coming, guys, is the FA Cup quarterfinals. These are pretty interesting. You've got Bournemouth who've come through up to the quarterfinals, so that's really well played for them. With a home game against Southampton, so that's interesting. Everton at home are going to take on Man City. Now, this is interesting because Man City is still currently going for the quadruple, the 4 trophies in one season, never been done before. Everton will have a bit to say about that. Man City are in this position where they're so far in front in the league, they can play their full teams in these other ones. They don't have to worry. In years gone by, if you're in the league and you're resting players for the FA Cup or whatever, Man City don't have to worry.
Okay.
So Everton, Man City, that's interesting. Chelsea are going to take on Sheffield United. I don't know how Sheffield United got this far, but they did. Should be a good one for Chelsea. And then Leicester City versus Man U, mate. So that's second place, third in the league. FA Cup quarter final. What do you reckon?
You're not working then, are you?
What is that, Sunday? I am working. I work all the time, mate. You ask anyone. Interesting times there, mate. Now, you mentioned the boxing briefly. There's let's let you off the leash a little bit. Australian boxing. What's going on? You had a bit to say about you like that Justice Hooney. You thought he looked all right.
He looked all right.
Mundine has another black eye for Australian boxing, mate.
Oh.
What's happening?
Hopefully that is his retirement.
Yeah, let's hope. Zarafa just smacked. I think it was 90 seconds.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not a Mundine fan. I don't know how you could be, but he's going to end up like Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Because he's getting punched in the head. How old is he now? He's hopeless.
He's not putting up a fight there.
No.
Out in the first round. But I did hear in actual boxing news that Fury and Joshua have come to an agreement for 2 fights this year.
Yeah.
To put all
Have
the
heard
belts
that.
together. The dates and places I think still are getting worked out.
Okay.
But they have signed that they will fight 2 times. So that's exciting.
That's exciting. That's actual boxing, guys. Not some washed up NRL player or Josh Papali fighting a forklift driver or something like that.
Yeah.
And the fight on the weekend that's really set everyone. One of the greatest fights you'll see. It was Chocolatito versus Estrada 2. That's a flyweight, or I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I think it's a super flyweight. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But they're like 115 pound fellas. Mate, they're throwing like 2,000 punches in a 12-round fight. Went to a split decision with Estrada winning. I'll tell you what I'll do. If anyone's got a passing interest in that, I'll leave a link in the description below. There's a good highlights package you can access on YouTube from that fight. That is a fight. You want to see that? You want to see two guys go for it for 12 rounds? That's a fight. So there is some good fights out there. I'd love to see that fight you're talking about, the heavyweights coming back there.
To see all the belts held by one person.
That would be
That's good.
And let's hope then that they would keep them, wouldn't they? And
well, they'll have them for a while anyway.
Yeah, and keep it so there's one champion. Yeah, that's the thing. It's always good to see the heavyweights.
Who would your money be on?
I like Fury.
Yeah, I like Fury.
You like Fury?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard to say. Big fellas, one punch can change everything at that weight, So, yeah. Getting back to that Chocolatito Estrada fight, they've got chins too. You should see they're taking some hits. And I know they're smaller guys, but they're tough. They're tough. Yeah. And just lastly, before we wrap up, I'm just going to quickly touch on a bit of America's Cup, because why not? The oldest trophy in sports history is happening at the moment in New Zealand. You've got New Zealand taking on Italy, and it's a best of 13 series. These yachts, I don't even know if you call them yachts anymore, boats. They look like a spaceship. Have you seen these things?
Yeah, they're crazy.
They hardly go
not in the water.
No, I don't know. It's come a long way since we cheated with the wing keel and Bob Hawke got on the syrup. But for people into sailing, this is a big deal. So New Zealand are currently leading 6-3, like it's best of 13, so they're one win away. The next race, I believe, is tomorrow. They could wrap up the series. I've had a quick look at the highlights, and I can't say that I know too much about it or I could get right into it, but it is interesting. They're flying. I don't know how fast they go. I've got a mate at work. He's a bit of a sailor, and he's been watching it, captivated with it, and so interesting times. And it looks like another trophy for New Zealand, unless Italy can win 4 straight. So getting a bit tired of wrapping the Kiwis.
It's coming around a lot, isn't it?
They're doing all right. If we get to the Olympics and they start winning golds and that, I might throw my toys out of the cop. All right. Anything else you want to add, mate? Well, what are your predictions? So you got the Broncos wooden spoon this year or not?
No, I think after that last round, I'll look at Cowboys, Manly, St. George, somewhere. And
just put you on the spot since you brought your jersey. When the Reds go and play those New Zealand teams...
Reds.
Yeah, but going to be competitive, or is it
I hope so.
men against boys? Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, there's some good times ahead, I think. All right, mate. Well, that seems to be enough for 1 week. Everyone, like I say, leave some comments on the video. Let us know what you think. Agree, disagree, predictions, anything like that. We'll endeavour to read out a couple next week, and I think that's all for now. So, everyone, thanks for watching the show. Thanks for coming on.
No problem.
And we'll see you next week. Catch you later.